We want to bring in now Senator Ron Johnson, who has been agreed to come on and talk to us. Senator Johnson, I appreciate your time. Where are you now, and where were you when the chaos erupted on Capitol Hill?
Well, Charles, we're in the Senate chamber, and Senator Langford was making his remarks when all of a sudden the Secret Service got Vice President Pence out of the presiding chair, and I thought they were just changing presiding officers. I saw Chuck Grassley get up as well, but then when he left, some other staffers started streaming into the Senate, and they sealed off the chamber, and we held in place there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. And apparently the Capitol Police, who did just a very professional job, cleared a corridor for everybody to leave the Capitol and get into the Senate office buildings.
Senator, this has been a day that so many are going to talk about for generations to come, this unprecedented breach on the U.S. Capitol on a day that was supposed to be largely ceremonial for President-elect Joe Biden. Are you disgusted by what has happened here?
Yeah, I abhor all kinds of lawlessness. I don't condone it in the slightest. I condemn it. Never should have happened. Peaceful protests are one thing. This was not a particularly peaceful protest or lawful protest.
But we have heard from Democrat after Democrat that it was the president who stoked what happened today, that Republicans, including Republicans like you, who have been sort of promoting this myth that somehow this election was stolen and that this would have been this last chance to try to turn this over to the president. Do you take responsibility, partial responsibility, for what's happening on Capitol Hill right now?
Charles, you and Democrats are putting words in my mouth that I haven't spoken. What I've been talking about is just the reality of the situation that tens of millions of Americans are suspicious of the result of this election. And they have a lot of reasons to be suspicious. The dramatic increase in absentee ballots, which even the Carter-Baker Commission said increased the rate of fraud. The fact that Democrats pushed the envelope and tried to weaken controls of absentee balloting, even though we ended up with double the number. The fact that observers were barred from actually doing their job and observing. If you're not doing anything wrong, why not let people take a look at it? And then we see allegations of people voting from addresses that are listed as vacant lots by United States Postal Service, people voting that don't no longer reside in the state that they're supposed to be voting in.
All right, but
listen, Charles, there's all kinds of troubling allegations.
Allegations that have been brought up in courtroom after courtroom, and others have looked at these things, and no one has said that there is a problem here that would say the election was somehow stolen by President-elect Biden. Where's the proof that says he stole this election?
Charles, there's all kinds of evidence that might point to proof, but you need time to investigate. And the fact of the matter is also, and one of the things that's suspicious about this is the president's team hasn't been able to conduct the proper discovery. You say the courts have examined all this. A lot of the courts haven't looked at the evidence. They've just dismissed these cases based on procedural grounds. So again, these blanket statements that, oh, this has all been looked at, there is no evidence, it's all been debunked, sounds very similar to the accusations leveled at me in terms of my Hunter Biden investigation. Oh, no proof, it's all been debunked. It's all been discredited.
But is this the time and place when you look at how the process unfolds?
Get Chuck Todd on me. Okay, let me finish my statement. Then you find out after the election that there's actually is an investigation by the FBI. So again, I'm just being very straightforward, very forthright. I'm looking at the reality situation, and this is an unsustainable state of affairs for our country, where you have a large percentage of the American population not viewing this election as legitimate. We've just come off 4 years where the other side wouldn't view this as President Trump is a legitimate president either. So there's an unsustainable state of affairs. The only solution I can see to this is for transparency, investigation, look in these allegations, the things that can be explained, you set those off the side. The things that can't be explained or the wrongdoing that is found, and it takes time to do these investigations. You need to come up with solutions so that we can restore the confidence in the legitimacy of our electoral process.
But you agree that President-elect Joe Biden won the election, not only here in Wisconsin, but across the country, and should be sworn in on January 20th.
Well, what this process will happen today is we're opening up in certifying these electoral votes here in Congress is I think we know exactly what the result's going to be. I've been very upfront with that. But I've also thought that it is very important to go through the process and raise these issues to make sure that we have an investigation. So we either establish a commission or we have investigations, hopefully in the states, so the states will, reassert their authority in terms of election law. That's part of the issue here is that you have this authority usurped, the constitutional authority to set the time, place, and manner of elections taken over by unelected judges, elected officials. That's got to end. We need to respect the state legislatures. Constitutionally, that is who is vested with this power.
Well, I know that you say me and other Democrats are trying to put words in your mouth, but I have you take a look at Republican Mike Gallagher, what he said today, that he called out the president himself, saying, look, it's over. Do not continue to do what is happening here. And he even says what you're seeing on Capitol Hill today is directly the result of the president's actions. He had January 6th circled on the calendar. This is what he says you get when you have a president sending a false narrative.
No, I respectfully disagree with Congressman Gallagher.
But where do we go from here? You still want to push tonight to get a vote on the Wisconsin electors?
No, I never said I was going to do that.
What do you want to do?
What we've already done is we've raised one objection to Arizona to be able to make these points that this problem's not going to go away without investigations, without a commission, without transparency. And I think we've made that point. We will have made that point, and we'll also show and disprove some of the misinformation on the right side of the aisle here, that if just one senator and one House member objects, then all of a sudden it goes to a vote by the states where President Trump gets reelected. That's not going to happen. I acknowledge that. I've been very upfront with that for weeks, for months, quite honestly.
Do you hold the president accountable for what happened today?
Well, he certainly could have been more helpful. I agree with that.
How?
But again, I believe he has now issued a video and told people to go home peacefully.
So going forward here, inauguration. Will you be at inauguration? Will this be a moment where the transfer of power will happen as it has done so many times, peacefully and without question?
I don't have any doubt whatsoever. But Charles, I do have to point out, President Trump never had a peaceful transition of power. Let's look at the facts. After his inauguration, there were hundreds of thousands of people who came into D.C. and protested. Within a couple of weeks, people within his own administration leaked phone calls between President Trump and other world leaders. The FBI was conducting a corrupt investigation based on a totally false claim perpetrated by ex-members of the Obama administration. So,
but wasn't all of that litigated? Hasn't all that played out? You've held hearings on it. The public has had a chance to look at it.
Peaceful transitions of power. I wish.
Senator Johnson, we do appreciate you making time for us, and we thank you for joining us.
Have a good day. Happy New Year.